In this lesson, we will add bone objects for the eyes and eyelids. Let's move over to our side view. So from here, what we'll do is create an eye bone first, and then once that's finished, we can create our eyelid bone objects from that eye bone. And then we can go ahead and mirror all of that across. Let's grab our bones tool. We'll check the width and height. Let's drop this a little bit more, let's say to about 0.5. I think 2 is pretty high. We'll also enable our snapping tool so we can make sure our bone object is straight and pointed forward. We'll go ahead and create it now. Alright, so from here we'll go ahead and press the S key to disable snapping. Let's go back to our perspective view. We'll also press F3. So we'll want to make sure that the root of this bone object is centered to the eye. Now if we were to unfreeze our model layer and go ahead and use Shift A to quick align it to the eye, you'll notice, alright, it doesn't get aligned. Where did it go? Well, if you were to check the origin of your scene, you'll see that it's right there on our grid because that's where the pivot for our eyes are right now. So we can fix this very easily by simply going to our front view. We'll go in and marquee select to grab the character's left eye. We'll hold down Control and marquee select to grab the right eye. We'll now go ahead and press F3, and in shaded mode, we'll deselect the objects we don't need selected by simply Alt-clicking. Alright, so with all of these now selected, we can head over to our hierarchy panel and choose Effect Pivot Only, Center to Object. Great. Now since we have adjusted the pivot point of each object, just a good idea to go ahead and freeze our transforms in case we were to accidentally shift those objects out of place. It's very easy to bring them back with transform to 0. Alright, great. Now we can go ahead and take our eye bone, we can go ahead and grab that root and quick align it back to the left eye with Shift A, and you'll see it will be aligned to the center of the eye. Alright, sweet. Let's go ahead and grab the nub object. We'll choose Bone Edit mode. Let's go ahead and bring the nub back. So it's right outside of the eye. We'll go ahead and press the Z key to zoom in. That looks good. So from here, what I'd like to do is go ahead and hide the character. Just so we can go in and, let's say, rename this object. That's going to be BN LI01. Go ahead and copy that and rename the nub. So that will have a prefix of BE. And with both selected, we can have them stored in the skeleton layer. Great. Then as of right now, we'll just go in and freeze their transforms. We will be linking them after we're finished up here, but we'll just freeze our transforms from time to time. Again, it's just safe to do that. So now we're going to create a bone object for the upper lid. With both objects here selected, we'll press Ctrl V and we'll clone them as copies. Now let's go ahead and grab the cloned root and start rotating it up for the upper lid. We can always grab it from our schematic view, or we can go ahead and click through our original root to grab the cloned root. That's something I really like about 3ds Max. We can essentially click through objects to grab the objects we need, even though one object is right on top of another. So we should have I02 selected. Let's go ahead and grab our rotate tool. We'll bring back our model. We'll press F3 to go back to wireframe mode. Let's go ahead and rotate this up. And we can do so in gimbal mode, so we know exactly what axis we're actually rotating in. Great. So we'll just want to bring this up in the Z axis. Let's go ahead and press F3 to take a look at where this bone is right now. You can see it's not centered to the eyelid, so it might help visually to kind of make sure that the eyelid is deforming the right way by simply making sure it's centered And to do that, we'll go ahead and rotate in our y-axis. Alright, that looks good. And then we could also kind of twist it just a bit in the x-axis to straighten it up. And then once we've managed to do that, let's go ahead and hide our model again. And with both objects selected, we can go ahead and freeze their transforms. Alright, great. Now, how about the lower lid? Well, let's go ahead and clone this object. So with both selected, we'll press Ctrl V, clone as copies. Again, we'll go ahead and click through until we grab the root of the cloned object, and we'll go ahead and just rotate that down. I'd also like to show you a trick for mirroring your rotation, which would be great for the eyelids, so we can create a fast blink. Before we do that, let's go ahead and bring back our model. Let's make sure that the eyelid is exactly where we want it to be. Alright, that looks good. So all we need to do is go ahead and rotate it 180 degrees in the twist axis. So in this case, it's the x-axis. So here's what we'll do. With it selected, we'll first go ahead and freeze its transforms just to go ahead and zero everything out. And now we'll press the A key to use angle snap. We'll go ahead and rotate, again, 180 degrees in the x-axis. Feel free to use your coordinates that are found right at the bottom of 3ds Max just to make sure you've rotated enough. Take a look. 180 degrees, great. So from here, it's just a matter of alt-right-clicking again and choosing Freeze Transform. Beautiful. So now that that's been cleaned up, if we were to hide the character again and grab both roots, as we start to rotate, notice we get this mirrored effect. Excellent. Now if you find that as you rotate, you're rotating from the center of the object instead of from your pivot point center, you could always adjust that using the pivot menu here, right next to the coordinates here. Alright, great. So everything is looking really nice. Let's go ahead and make sure that we have these objects renamed, just to always stay organized. So we can start with the upper lid. That's going to be BNL upper lid 01. I'll go ahead and copy that name, go ahead and grab the nub, have that renamed to BE L upper lid, and we'll take care of the lower lid next. Alright, so that's BN L lower lid 01. Copy that, take care of the nub. Great. Once we've managed to do that, we could basically go ahead and work on mirroring this across, and then we'll have these objects linked. So you'll see that their pivot point is right at the center of the eye bone, and that's exactly what we want. So here's what we can do. We can go ahead and create a helper, and we'll have it quick aligned to any one of these bone objects. So we'll press Shift A. Beautiful. So from here, let's make sure that our coordinate system is set to world. You can see the x-axis will tell us what we need to flip in order to make sure that we mirror this across successfully. So looking at the x-axis, what we can do is go ahead and set this to the reciprocal. So that's negative 2.047 for me. But once we've managed to flip that value, we can now go ahead and make sure that we shift our bone objects here over to this helper. So first, let's go ahead and just grab them. If we were to go ahead and use our mirror tool, you can see they all have now been mirrored. We can go ahead and use our offset to kind of slide them over a bit. And then we'll go ahead and choose OK. Now, with our root selected, just the roots, we can go ahead and press Shift A and quick align to our helper. And there we have it. Alright, so now let's go ahead and get rid of the helper. Let's go ahead and make sure that all of our objects are linked to the upper jaw. Alright, so with all the roots selected, grab our link tool, and we'll link over to the upper jaw. Great. Now with those roots still selected, we'll press Control Page down to grab the hierarchy of all selected objects, we'll go ahead and now freeze their transforms down. So now that they've been cleaned up, just to be on the safe side, we can have those bone objects stored in the skeleton layer. Go ahead and choose Add. Great. And if we were to bring back our character now, you should notice that everything is looking really nice. Sweet. So we've managed to take care of the bone objects we'd need for the eyes and the eyelids. So that's going to finish this lesson. I'd recommend that you just go in and rename the objects on the right side. So we'd want to use an R instead of an L, and we'd want to get rid of the suffix mirrored. So I'll go ahead and leave that up to you. And in the next lesson, we're basically ready to envelope the face.